to start off with, I wanted to first provide some some background about the ArcGIS platform, which I'm sure those of you who have worked with Esri before or currently use Esri technology, this is obviously something that you're very familiar with. Some of our key capabilities that the ArcGIS platform provides for our users is that it really provides some great tools for obviously mapping and spatial reasoning based on the data that's either collected and brought in to visualize within the platform. It helps to create a deeper understanding, allowing you to quickly see where things are, obviously, in a geospatial context, see where they're happening, and how information is extracted from them. Some of our key capabilities, as you see on the slide, spatial analytics, 3D, imagery, and remote sensing. For today's presentation and a short demo that I'll show a little bit later based on our work, or Agile's work with West Virginia Parkways, data collection and management is really the key theme of today, as we'll demonstrate how Collector and some of our other commercial tools can be used. So I work specifically with state departments of transportation within Esri's transportation team. And some of the common patterns of use that we've seen, not only across our DOT users, but really across all Esri users, are shown here on the slide. This obviously covers a lot of different customers, a lot of different agencies from all walks of industry. But as I mentioned before, this idea of collecting data out in the field and bringing it back into your infrastructure to map, to analyze, to extract more information from is really the key focus of today's topic, and this whole Esri and Agile integration and how our collective tools can be synchronized together and work together to solve problems. I don't like to talk about products a lot, but I am, on our sales team within Esri. We really provide a suite of field operation tools for not only gathering information and capturing information out in the field, but before you even get to that point, planning for that collection and planning for where your mobile field workers will be deployed. How are they going to get there? What tasks are they going to be assigned? And then obviously the actual data collection piece, how are they going to collect the data? Are they going to use something like Collector for ArcGIS, or are they going to use Survey 123, which is another one of our tools, which is more form-driven, where Collector is more map-driven. And then finally, once they get all that information and they process it and they bring it back into their office, how is that displayed? How is that monitored on an ongoing basis, and how is that analyzed? That's something where Operations Dashboard is going to show you some things today based on the work that Agile has done with West Virginia Parkways. But I show this slide just to kind of set the stage for these are the two Esri products that will be featured in today's presentation. So what I really wanted to talk about and kind of just provide that background for what I'll be showing today is really the whole Agile and Esri partnership. We've been working with Agile as an Esri business partner for several years, have made some really great strides recently. As I'm sure you're all aware, as of late last year, Agile successfully uploaded or embedded ArcGIS into their solution offerings. So it exists and it's accessible now in virtually all of their modules, from asset management to maintenance, pavement, bridge, drainage, really encapsulating a wide and far-reaching access into the tools that ArcGIS provides. And with that, with the ArcGIS Enterprise Access, it really provides a whole bunch of benefits and streamlined workflows for dealing with asset data. Users can publish from their asset inventories directly. You can edit locations and attributes using a map, like we'll see today with Collector. They can collect new inventory features, data that wasn't there before, but obviously needs to be integrated into the existing inventory, and then share those services out for users to consume. So really the goal of this, this integration, which we're excited about, and I'm sure Agile is too, is we really want to empower Agile's users to leverage all the tools and the solutions that the ArcGIS platform provides. And we hope that unlocks new capabilities, that unlocks new streamlined workflows that weren't there before, and really helps make their operations more timely and more efficient. So now that Agile has embedded ArcGIS into their modules for their asset management systems, they're creating and publishing a wide range of services related to all of their data within the ArcGIS platform. And this integration has really brought, I think, and among my team, thinks that it's really brought a lot of value and a lot of benefit as it's opened up those apps and solutions within the platform. Collector and Ops Dashboard being two of them. So for today's demonstration, which I'll walk through in a few minutes here, as Claudio introduced, this will feature how West Virginia Parkways asset data was collected and managed by Agile, brought into the ArcGIS platform for not only being visualized but also edited using Collector, and then shared back through a suite of Esri apps, like the Ops Dashboard and through an Esri story map. Some of you may have heard of that before. And before I get into the demo, I just wanted to give a small shout out to Donnie Allison at the West Virginia Parkways for his great cooperation and collaboration in this effort. Many thanks are due to him for his working with not only us but also with Agile in helping us create this Ops Dashboard and this story map, and really for his investment in both of our technologies to make this possible. It's really been great to see Agile get this stood up very quickly, and we hope that this continues, and this will open the door for further collaboration and further integration of the platform from Esri. So with that, I'm going to shift over to the demo portion. So just bear with me for one sec. Okay. So what I'm showing here, this is obviously within a web browser. This is our Esri Transportation Portal. This is ArcGIS, the portal for ArcGIS. This is a web-based environment where all of your data that you collect through Esri tools like Collector, this is where it all comes back. This is where it's hosted. For the purposes of today's demo, as I mentioned, West Virginia has shared their asset data with us to visualize some of the tools that we have and how our tools have supported their asset workflows. This is strictly a sandbox environment. We're not dealing with real world data right here, so the changes that I'll show you guys today obviously aren't happening back in West Virginia's system. So this is a duplicate sandbox environment of all the data that they provided. So what I first wanted to show is that within this gallery of featured apps here on this homepage, we have a culvert maintenance program gallery that West Virginia provided us. So when I open up that gallery, we are now shown 3 specific apps from Esri. One is a culvert collection and inspection web map, which is going to be accessed through Collector. The culvert management operations dashboard is another one of our mobile apps where that collected data, once it's brought back into the ArcGIS platform, can be visualized, it can be monitored, it can be configured for certain types of views. And then finally, the Parkways Culvert Management Program story map. This is kind of completing the circle of showing how this data, once it comes back into your business system, can be shared out either to the public or to directors, executive management. It's really meant to be a communications tool. It's not very tech heavy, but it does a good job of summarizing and rolling up all the information that you've collected into a story, essentially, hence the name story map. So the first thing I'm going to show here is how do you actually access this data within Collector and make a real-time edit on it. So to do that, I'm going to actually launch Collector on an iPad that I have here, and I'll share my screen with you guys so you can see what I'm doing. So as you guys can see, you're seeing my screen on my iPad right here. I'm going to launch directly into Collector. And what I'm going to do, I'm at the mercy of technology here, so hopefully this works. I'm going to open up the actual Ops dashboard that I mentioned before, because the real key in this is I mean, I'm obviously going to show how this data feeds back into Agile's system as well, but the first step of that is to show how, if I'm a field worker out in the field updating information, doing inspections on a culvert or a gutter on West Virginia's roadway, I can make that change in Collector. That change that I make will be updated in this Ops dashboard, which is this dashboard application you see here. And beyond that, that update will also be visualized in the inventory within Agile. So it's a two-step process, and really it shows the integration between Esri and Agile. So thanks to the Agile guys, Johan and Tyler, this morning, who worked with me in identifying a gutter on West Virginia Parkways that we're going to edit here. So the first step is I'm now going to be looking at Collector here. And I've highlighted this gutter here. You can't really see it on the screen, but it's highlighted on the map. It has a gutter ID here, G10030, and there's also what's known as a work request here, this WR row here. So it's talking about the same gutter, the actual asset that's there, and the actual work order that's meant to improve or fix or replace something that's been noticed from the inspection. So before I do that, I'm going to first add a new inspection. As you can see here from the gutter inspection window, there are two inspections that have already been logged within the system. And since I'm in Collector, I'm inputting a new inspection here. And this won't be reflected in the Ops dashboard, given that the Ops dashboard shows open work requests, as you can read from these widgets here and these tabs, completed work orders. But I wanted to first show how a new inspection that's logged for a particular asset can be updated within the Agile system. So I'm back in Collector now. I'm going to log the inspection data as today. I'll keep it as in progress. None of these fields are required, but just for demo purposes, I'm just showing you guys how this could be updated in real time. If I'm out in the field, standing above this gutter, making these updates. These scores that you see here for the gutter debris are, again, coming from West Virginia that came with their asset. And in the comments section, this is a free text field that you can edit within Collector. And one really cool thing that you can do, you can actually dictate through your iPad or through your mobile device what you want it to say. So I'm just going to say, the work has been completed. And it's not always perfect, but it's still recording me. You got to be careful with technology. Let me try that again. The work has been completed. There we go. So that comment is saved within my inspection. And you can obviously take this further with more details and more information, but I just want you guys to see the capability. So once that new inspection is logged, I'm going to hit Submit within Collector. And that inspection is now saved within Collector. Now, because of the integration with Agile, I'm going to go back into Agile system here. It may have logged me out, but let's see. Has expired. Okay. Sorry about this. Let me just log in real quick. And basically, what I'm showing here is that new inspection that I just recorded for that particular gutter will be logged within Agile's road maintenance system here once this loads. And I demonstrated that just to show that, you know, these updates can take on many forms. It's not just simply a matter of updating a work order or updating a particular asset that has a failed rating or a poor grade. You can affect the inspection, and you can also use this as a way of replacing or fixing something. Apologies that this is slow here.
Just use the shortcut. This is the default page.
All right. Give this one more shot, and then I'll keep going here.
Are you on the hard Ethernet or wireless?
No, I'm on a MiFi. It was working fine before. But anyway, let me just press on here, and I can show you that later. So that was the inspection piece. Now I just lost my collector. Sorry about that. Okay. There we go. All right. So now, going back into collector, for that exact same asset, using the same gutter G10030, I'm now going to go into the work request, which is signified by that WR and the yellow dot. This is saying that something needs to be done to this asset. Something needs to be fixed, something needs to be replaced, someone needs to go out and perform some action on it. So I click on that tab, and I see the actual details for that particular work request. And if I scroll down here, and I go to the actual work request tab, I'm going to view that request that's in there. And I see there's one that's been logged. And again, this came out of someone going out and inspecting it and determining that something needs to be done. And the comment here is that this needs to be cleaned to be able to be inspected. So we have some more metadata about the actual gutter here. What's important here, and what will tie back to the Agile system, is this this WR number here, 3380. That is the connecting factor that will link the two systems together, and will enable any updates that I make to be reflected in the Agile system. So to edit this work order, since I'm now out in the field performing this work, I hit this little box here to edit within collector. And now I can change this work order from a status of pending to completed. We know the reported date was last December. There's the problem. I'll change this work completion date to today. This gutter has been cleaned. And again, there's my audio comment to be input there. And now I'm ready to update this actual work request. I hit update. And now I'm going to stop sharing on collector, because now I'm done with my field data collection. There's no more left to do. And now I'm going to turn my attention to my ops dashboard. And I should have explained this earlier, but some of you may have seen that number at the top left, that 1028, just reduced by 1, from 1029 to 1028. That represents the open work requests that I have out in the field for my assets. So within that one update that I did for my iPad from collector on the field, it took maybe 4 or 5 seconds for that widget within my ops dashboard to refresh and update. Likewise, the circle graph down the bottom there with the percentage, that may have updated, I'm not sure. I think that's based on every 10 work orders that are changed. That threshold can be adjusted, that can be changed. This is just the default that we did for this demo. And most importantly, on this completed work orders column here, we have my most recent work requests that have been edited or updated or completed rolled to the top. So the one that I just updated, work request 3380, has a status of completed, and it has even my comment that I spoke into my iPad, this gutter has been cleaned. So this is meant to be something that exists back in your back office, not for the mobile field worker out in the field collecting on their iPad, but it's meant to be a way to aggregate all of your asset information updates that are being performed in real time, show these kind of metrics, show these kind of graphics to give you that answer of what's going on, what's been changed, what's been updated. And this all can be configured. This is not the one template that you have to use. All of these separate boxes that you see here are separate widgets that can be configured and can be adjusted and edited depending on what it is you want to show. The bottom tab here on the very bottom here shows 3 tabs for culverts, gutters, and drop inlets. We're not just talking about gutters here. West Virginia had many different types of assets that they were collecting information on. This shows the counts of them and their rating score. When these were inspected, what rating did they get? Score of 1, I think, was excellent, and 3 was poor, 2 was average. So those types of information pieces can be rolled into something like this to give you that high-level picture. And if you can't see some of these can be clicked and expanded, so you're just looking at particular metrics if you want just a closer look about what these graphs are actually explaining. So that's the ops dashboard piece, and really the key takeaway there is just how these things are updated in real time as field updates are made. Along with that, and again, keeping with the theme of this whole integration with Agile Assets, now I can see the system here within Agile, which is great to see. If you guys remember that work request number was 3380. We see that now within Agile System under this work request tab. And if I reload this page,
so it's actually going to disappear into the other windows since you marked it as completed.
Thank you, Tyler. And I apologize. I'm learning Agile System today.
So it's an issue.
Yep.
And completed work request.
Thank you.
Then you'll be able to find it in
Yeah. So now I'm in the. Thank you, Tyler. I'm in the completed work request filter from the Agile System. I right-click on the work request number, which is what I want to search for. I know it's 3380. I'm going to tell the system to look it up, and there it is highlighted right there. And remind me again, Tyler, how I can open up the
the little top right underneath reload. So the little
yes.
form button.
Thank you.
Maybe not.
There it is. So this is just some more information about that particular work request that I updated, and I can see that my comments are there, the status was changed to completed, and the completion date was today. So again, kind of one cycle system updating the Esri tools, the Esri applications like the Ops Dashboard, as well as Agile System here. And I know I'm a little short on time here. I want to leave time for questions, but I did want to also show, going back to before, the gutter inventory. If you guys remember the third inspection that I logged before I went into the Ops Dashboard, should also be reflected for that gutter. So as I load this up, I'm again going to search for that particular asset.
Just inside the cell.
Thank you. And I know what I'm searching for because I have that asset ID. This was G10030. And there it is, highlighted in blue. Now the key thing here is I didn't update any data or information about the actual asset itself. All I did was I logged a new inspection. So if you guys look over, I know it's hard to see here, but on the very far right, under the inspections column, I now have a 3. That was 2 before I logged that new inspection. If I click on that, I now have the most, and I did one earlier today, so there's 2 for 419, but the most recent one is this bottom one here. So again, just showing how the systems are synchronized in real time, and real-time updates that are made, either from an inspection standpoint or from a work order standpoint, are shown and reflected within Esri systems as well as AgILES. The final thing I wanted to show, just flipping back to one of the Esri apps that I mentioned earlier, this is what's known as a story map. This, again, is a totally configurable tool that Esri offers in terms of sharing information. Think of this as a communications tool for either getting information or metrics, analysis out to the public, either within your agency, to your executive leadership. There's many different audiences that leverage and use something like story maps. But for the purposes of this demo and what West Virginia provided Agile, this first tab here, number 1, this roadway hydrology asset inventory, shows the work orders that were issued for the assets that they manage. Each one of these work orders either has an assigned status, completed, or pending. Pretty self-explanatory. That work request that I updated to completed a few minutes ago was updated in this application as well, just like it was in the ops dashboard. So all these tools and apps are feeding or are getting information from the same systems. It's all integrated together. So before I did that work request update, we had 7 completed work orders issued here, and that number now is updated to 8. What's also shown here is the number of assets that you have in your network shown at the bottom here. This is strictly just a counter. What's great about this, though, in my map here, this is looking at the entire extent of assets that West Virginia provided, shown in this map display. I have a pre-configured bookmark here, which is another thing you can do within ArcGIS, zooming in on US 19 and I-77 within West Virginia. If I click that bookmark, the map zooms me to that area, and the bottom counters change to show only the extent of what's shown in the map. So if I were to zoom in even further, those will dynamically update based on what's in that current map extent. So just another way to quickly show information so you're not showing everything at once to someone who's viewing this. But again, a really great communications tool and a really good way to tell a story based on the information that you have collected already. And the other tabs here, again, providing the same area along West Virginia's roadway, shows where either the culverts have failed or the gutters or the drop inlets. Based on the inspections that are performed, a manager within West Virginia may want to know, well, show me all of the gutters within our roadway along I-77 that have a poor rating or that have a failed rating or that needs to be addressed immediately. Those are all signified here by these red dots. And you can even click on each one and see this is a culvert. You can see the score that it got. The latest rating that this culvert got was a 1, which, if you remember from the ops dashboard, is the lowest rating. And it has several other pieces of information here that you could look at. But it's the same principle with the gutters, as well as the work requests that are issued and that are logged to fix those problems. One last thing I'll mention here is, if I go back to the home screen here, the home extent, you'll see that when I first look at each one of these tabs, the assets are generalized and symbolized using a heat map. As you zoom in, as I'm sure you saw, the actual points will actually populate, and that heat map will go away. So just another symbology trick that Esri provides through the ArcGIS platform. But together, those 3 applications that I showed, the actual collection app within Collector for ArcGIS, the ops dashboard for the manager or for the office manager to see those metrics updated in real time, and finally the story map for providing maybe that executive level briefing or that executive level presentation of showing what all this means and why is this important and where are all the problem areas to address. 3 different tiers of tools that Esri can provide. And I think that's pretty much it for the presentation. Have about 10 minutes or so for questions. Apologies for the technical difficulties, but thank you guys for bearing with me on this. And again, thank you to Tyler and Johan for their help in introducing me to the Agile tools, which I personally hadn't worked with before, but you know, obviously it's a very good integration and partnership to see these two systems working together. So with that, I'll take any questions.
So do we have any question? Sean, you did a great job.
Thank you.
Operating AgileAssets system. Impressive. Thank you.
Demos are hard, yeah.
This is how much is integrated. I think West Virginia Parkway is a really good example of having Esri collector integrated with AgileAssets. Something we have been hearing in the market for a long time. Those two environments working separately, and having agencies that have all those data somewhere collected with collector, and then a work management system in the other side, AgileAssets, and the desire of merging this information, avoiding manual transfer or data entry. Any question for Sean?
Thank you, Sean, for sharing. My question is actually for the audience a bit. Is there, are any of the agencies here, are you using collector as any part of your operations currently? Virginia, City of Austin, Nevada, lots of them, Ohio, okay. Do you see possibility of leveraging that data and making sure that it's available and visible through the AgileAssets? That seemed like something, I see a lot of head nodding actually. Okay, well that's encouraging because this is something that we're looking forward to making it available. So, thank you.
Maybe someone wants to share.
Do you have to be on a certain version of ArcGIS to do any of these things, or is this just all ArcGIS online, not non-version?
Yeah, a collector is available.
Hey, Sean, just for the audio purpose, make sure that you answer it so that the listener can actually know what the question was.
Thank you. The question was, do you need to be on any version of Esri's tools to leverage any of this? And the answer to that is no. I mean, collector is available within ArcGIS Online as well as ArcGIS Enterprise, which is the example I showed today. There are enhancements and new features, as I'm sure some of you are aware who use collector regularly, that come with each release. But in terms of, is there a minimum version that needs to be downloaded on your systems? No.
And I guess that the question also apply in AgileAssets aside. I don't know if maybe Johan, you.
Yeah, I would say for offline maps, you would probably 7.3 would be the version you want to go with. We were showing you online, so not offline. That you can probably do from version 7.1 already, but yeah, for offline definitely 7.3 because it's got the syncing framework that you'll need.
Any other question? Yes.
This operations dashboard that is built out here, is this something that West Virginia is currently using, or is this something that you guys built out for the purposes of the demo? I have a little experience in like building the apps, and it's really nice. I just didn't know if that was something that they were using prior to this.
Yeah, so the question is the ops dashboard that I showed from the Esri side something that West Virginia is currently using today? And I don't. That may be a question for Agile, since they just provided us the data, and we built the ops dashboard and the story map just for demo purposes. but I can find out if this is.
I just wasn't sure if it was something that you guys put together for the demo, or
Yes,
that
we did,
you were
yeah.
just using something that they had
We
done.
can answer some of that. Johan may have a little bit of information on this one. The question is how much of this is being used currently with West Virginia Parkways at time, because it is live in West Virginia Parkways. I think some of this was added along on the story
Yeah.
mapping, for example. They may not using it yet, but this is a live environment that's in production with West Virginia Parkways.
Right.
So in terms of the level of effort, maybe to be able to get to some of these areas, do we know how far West Virginia Parkways has gone with respect to any of the storyboarding or anything of that type?
You might have more knowledge with Donnie.
To your question, I can follow up with our main contact, Donnie Allison, at West Virginia to see in their production environment, do they have something like this? Yeah.
I was just curious.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I think they also kind of knew they actually didn't have. They're one of the few clients that didn't have ArcGIS Online. So as part of this solution, we actually rolled out ArcGIS Online for
Right.
them. So I think they're only really getting started themselves, but definitely the collectors up and running, gutters, the inspection side, and what we were showing here, basically the inspection inventory. I mean, you can add new gutters, you can move your gutters, all that stuff they can currently do. They've actually got some very nice photos as well, so there's a lot of photos already for inspections. They went live, and 3 days later I was seeing photos coming in, so it was pretty nice to see that happen.
Any other question? We might take maybe one or two. I would have a question, actually, maybe Johan, you can help. I remember till a couple of years ago, we were requested for this integration and working together about we would approach this integration with collector almost like a specific interface or something that we would address as a custom requirement. How this has changed with a 7.3 API kind of plugin, a director plugin, how that maybe you, I don't know.
So there's actually a session just after this one for an hour and a half that we're going to spend on that. So just a plug for that. So I'm going to actually have some slides on that and so on. But it's I don't want to get too technical with the folks here, but there is a configuration part to this where you're probably going to need your GIS resources involved because it does require some configuration steps. But what we've done is really made it easy, the synchronization framework, especially when you start talking offline collector. That was the thing we worked on mostly because that was the hard part. We didn't want any of our maintenance users to drop into to do that synchronization, to a desktop tool and do that. And so the good news is that's all automated in the system job. And so that's where we spend a lot of time is building that synchronization framework for the offline changes. And so you can basically just run the job whenever you want to, and it will synchronize all your collector maps that's gone offline. And yeah, so I think that's the big thing that came up with 7.3 is that integration. Yeah.
Okay, time for a last question. Very good. Well, then I think, Sean, thank you so much
Sure.
for your presentation. Really enjoyed that.
Thank you.